actually, Spades is part of a bigger project called Playing Cards, which is a tetralogy. So we have 4 parts: spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs. And all these different increments are parts of a bigger story that will take place in different parts of the world at different times in history. So here we are presenting Spades, the first increment, and that's set in Las Vegas. In the early spring of 2003, more or less the weekend when Bush decided to invade Iraq. So it's pretty much set around this big casino resort, and we follow different stories that happen at the same time. Of course, there was a time more or less around that time of 2003 where I was working in Las Vegas for Cirque du Soleil. I was doing a show there called Ka for the MGM Grand. It was a big spectacle. And it was actually during that time when Bush announced that he was going to bomb Iraq, and suddenly Las Vegas became a desert land. It's already set in the middle of a desert. And we discovered with time that very close to Las Vegas, there's a military training camp that's called Al-Zubir, and it's a fake Iraqi village where all of the allies would go and train to invade Iraq. So Las Vegas is a crazy town where you have a false Paris and a false Venice and a false Baghdad, and you have close to that a false Iraqi village. So for us it was a good way of telling this very, very complex story. Well, I've always been interested in working in the round. I'd worked in the round before on one show on a Peter Gabriel concert, and was very, very interested in the relationship of the arena, how people are mesmerized or bewitched or transported by the story that they see in front of them, but at the same time they're always reminded that they're in a theater because they're facing the other half of the room. It has a certain circus quality that I guess I borrowed from Cirque du Soleil, also working so long for Cirque du Soleil. So there's something that becomes a bit like a boxing match, or what I like about theater more than film or anything, any kind of recorded media, is the fact that it's so sporty. There's something very sportif about theater, where things are live, people take chances, actors are actually performers. So there's something Olympian about doing theater nowadays. And of course this whole arena thing kind of pushes that idea through much more. It also it forces you to create a show that is more vertical. I don't want to sound too intellectual, but film is the world of the horizon, right? The road movies, the film is a story told like this. Theater is about a story told like this. It's about the gods, the devils, and about man that's trying to find the balance between these two things. So the arena shape forces you to have that, because you don't have any entrances from any side. You can only come on stage from up or from under. So that's why there's a lot of Faustian references, and there's a lot of almost 19th century theater references in a certain way, where theaters were very much horizontal, very much vertical. I mean. Well, of course, this is developed in the tradition of Ex Machina, in the sense that through the years, we've developed this kind of work in progress way of developing and writing shows, and so the actors. Usually, they're mainly actors, but some of them are not actors, but they also act on stage. Some of them are dramaturgs, or it could be singers or opera singers or dancers. You know, we take people from different parts of different disciplines, but we also take people from different parts of the world. So in this piece, we have people from Spain, we have one chap from Germany, we have people from Canada, of course, somebody from Great Britain. So, and what happens is that it forces people to work together in common languages, which is always a bit of a Tower of Babel when we start. But with time, it creates something that's at the image of the world, and so it's an interesting project. Right now the project is mainly in 3 languages: Spanish, French, and English. And the actors are very versatile. There's only 6 of them in this piece, and they play like 50-some characters. They have some strong characters that they all share. They have at least 2 characters that are very, very thick meat characters, but there's tons of other small characters around that. So, and it's quite a performance to see them change accents, change costume, appear, change energy. So it's quite a performance. You know, because I'm interested in interesting people, I don't audition. I think auditions are horrible. They just kind of show if you have talent or not. And I think that my work is a side of talent. It's not that I don't believe in talent. Of course, I think the people I work with are very talented, but I mean, I don't think that that's the most important trait. If you want to be participating to our shows, you have to have imagination, you have to be intelligent, you have to be opinionated, you have to want to take risks, you want to be courageous enough to embark into a writing process where we don't know where we're going. You know, there's no, I mean, I'm a director, but I'm not, I'm much more of a Christopher Columbus. You know, I say, well, there's a continent, I don't know what it looks like, but there's a continent, you know. So the actors have to have that kind of adventurous quality, and the show always takes the color of the participants. With time, that I think I've learned to do better, in the sense that my background as a theater person is not theater. My background as a theater person is film, television, because I was brought up in a society where culture was encouraged through television, basically, and then only the bourgeoisie would go to the theater and to the opera or see dance. But I mean, in general, people, the storytelling narrative codes that we had were film. So it's very normal that we use that as a storytelling device in the theater that we do. The theater coming out of Quebec a lot is very much like that. But it's still theater. I think it's pure theater. It's just that the way we intermingle the story, the telling, the vocabulary, I think it's a modern, contemporary, filmic, televisual way of telling a story in a certain way. But it does have a theatrical dimension to it at the end, because theater should be the place where you show larger than life things. Unfortunately, film and television usually show smaller than life things. Well, actually, with time, by playing with the playing cards, because our writing process is a very, very playful one. You know, we don't have any kind of theme or intellectual project. We sit down and we play in a very playful way, like it should be, right? So we discovered playing with cards that spades was associated to the military. Universally, spades used to be the sword. Used to be the king of swords was the king of spades, let's say. Hearts is more connected to love, of course, because of the hearts, but it's actually used to be the cup, the queen of cup, for example. So that's more connected to the idea of the chalice, of faith systems, magic, systems of beliefs. So the second part that we'll start developing this fall with another group of actors will be set in the 19th century Paris, in the world of magic and all that, and in the years where France had started to have colonial problems with Algeria and you know, the Muslim world. So that for us is a very, very rich starting point to talk about hearts. Of course, diamonds is related to the world of commerce, of business. It's the world of money, and we think that will probably be set in the Dubai airport, in the world of diamond exchange and all that. And we don't really know all of what we're going to be doing with clubs, but clubs used to be actually a club, which was a stick, basically. Now it's a shamrock, but it used to be a stick, and it's related to the working class, and it's about the masses, the workers, or the people that take arms, the revolutions, mainly working revolution, but it could also be related to things like the Arab Spring, for example, which was what is a revolution in our day and age, and does it necessarily go through social media and all that? So that's what we have in store, but of course none of that has been improvised yet, none of that has been explored further, so it might all change.